Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. I have a story to tell you guys, so bear with me. I might get a little emotional. My husband and I, we build props and set pieces for all over the country and here, and we just happened to build some stuff for a place in Nebraska that is actually really cool. I wish we had it here. It's a huge farm, and they have a big orchard and tree ropes courses and all kinds of stuff, but the kids would absolutely love it. But we went up there and we drove, and we have a truck and a trailer, and it takes 3 days to get there. As anyone knows, it's in the middle of the country, and so I have family in Iowa, and I went there for a couple of days, and then it was time to head back home, and I was like, oh my gosh, 3 days in the truck, not fun. But we headed on our journey. We started to make it home. We got it to Colorado. I love going through there. It's absolutely gorgeous and scenic, but knowing the next day is going to be hot and dry going through the Utah desert. If any of you have driven through there, you know that it's miles and miles and miles of nothing but sun and landscape. So we're going, and I'm getting kind of tired because it's just hot, and I told my husband, I said, hey, I'm just going to shut my eyes for a little bit, if you don't mind. He said, yeah, no problem. So I shut my eyes. The next thing I know, I get a tap on my leg. Hey, Gina, I think the gas light just came on. And I'm like, oh no. We're in that stretch in Utah where there's just nothing for miles and miles and miles. And so I'm getting really spotty reception for my internet, but I look, and thankfully it says that the next gas station is 66 miles away. So we kind of know we're in trouble. So the next sign says that there's an Outlook. Now, we've stopped at this Outlook every time, and it's called Ghost Rock, if any of you know. And we've been there in the snow, and we stopped and built a snowman before, and we just happen to stop there every time that we come. So I said, this is a safe place. Why don't we go ahead and pull over there, and maybe we can start asking people if they have a gas can, because a lot of people have four-wheelers, and, they're out there doing, with their razors and all of those vehicles and stuff. I said, well, maybe the chances of somebody having a gas can are pretty high out here. So we pull over. We have our son with us, who's 8 years old, and he said, Dad, I got to go to the bathroom. So they said, okay, we're going to go to the bathroom. The only cars that were there at the time was a semi-truck and then another family that had pulled over. So my husband takes our son to the bathroom, and then I'm just standing there waiting. They come back, and the semi-truck driver's window is down. And so my husband and we start talking, and he pokes his head out and says, hey, are you guys in trouble? He said, yeah, we ran out of gas. And my husband says, I know you drive a diesel, but any chance you happen to have a gas can on you? No, I don't, but if you need a ride, I can give you a ride to the next gas station. And Chris, my husband, is like, it's 60 miles away. Are you sure? And the guy was like, yeah, but we got to go now if you want to go, because I've got a schedule to keep. And so we were put right on the spot. I mean, we didn't even have time to really converse or anything, but I'm thinking, I've got plenty of water. I've got food. It's still daylight. I have a battery charger. I mean, we have everything but a gas can, right? So I said, okay, that's fine. We both had, plenty of juice in our cell phones. So I looked at him and I said, okay, well, let's just trust God and go with this. So I don't advise anyone just jumping into a semi-truck. So as they're taking off, I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to take a picture of this just in case, we made a bad decision, and here we go. So I take a couple pictures of the semi-truck, and then they go off. My son started to get upset, and I'm like, I got to be strong. And I felt kind of a peace about me, surprisingly, in this situation, because it's a pretty tense situation. So I said, we're fine. Everything's okay. Your dad will be back. We'll just pray for him. So we said a prayer, and then I entertained him in the truck. During that time, a couple families were coming and going, and I would go up to the car. I'm so sorry to bug you. Do you happen to have a gas can? No, we don't. Are you in trouble? No, I think we're okay. My husband's on his way to go get some gas, and these two cars had pulled up, and they were Land Cruisers, like the old cool ones, and they got out, and you could tell they put up their hood. I think they were letting it cool down. Well, I got into a conversation with them, and they happened to be from Ventura County, over in Newberry Park in Thousand Oaks. So I was like, what are the chances? So we got into a conversation. I told him that I was getting low on gas, and he goes, oh, when's the next gas station? I said, well, it seems like it's 60 miles away, and he goes, ooh, I'm kind of running low on gas too. So well, my husband's getting gas, so we can get you gas too. He goes, that would be great. So I text my husband, where are you? Are you coming up? Can you also grab? So get 2 gas cans. And he texts me back a picture. He's right there. An hour later, you can see the big, Love's or whatever it was, mobile gas station. And I'm like, this is awesome. And he writes me back. He says, he's offering me a ride back. Should I get a ride back with him? And I said, yeah, that's great. And he goes, do you have any money to give him? And I'm like, yeah, I have some cash on me. We can give him for his time because I feel bad. And he says, yeah. He said he'd offer me a ride back. So that's, so I told the guys, hey, no problem. My husband's going to get you gas. And so we stayed there and talked for a little bit. Well, my phone rings and I answer it. And he's like, hey, I just got here. I'm going to go ask the guy if he has gas cans. I wanted to let you know that I made it. So he goes in, asks the guy, points to it, and he says, awesome, that's great. So he goes, I'm going to go tell the driver that I'm going to get gas, and then I'll be right back. And he went, and he said, oh, shoot, he's not there. I don't see him. I said, okay, well, get off the phone, go find him, get your gas, and come back. So I don't hear anything back, and I just figure he's probably busy, got back in the truck and coming back. So an hour passes, and my son's like, is Dad coming in? I said, yeah, no, we'll give him a couple more minutes, and then I'll text him and see where he's at. Well, the next thing I know, he's walking up alongside the truck, and I just felt so much relief by then. So we put the gas in the truck, and we get going. The people from Ventura, they just left. So they said they were going to, take their chances and go. And I guess if we passed him, we could give him some gas. So we got in the car, and I said, okay, so tell me about your truck ride. Like, how did it all go down? He goes, well, it was really nice. I got in the truck, real clean truck. The guy offered me some water. Wasn't anything in there but some water. And I kept thanking him, asking him if I could buy him some lunch, buy him some gas, anything. He goes, no, just pray for me. And this has happened a couple times in my life where somebody says something or something happens, and you just get filled with the Holy Spirit. And at that moment, God was telling me it was an angel. And you just know sometimes that you just have this feeling God put something on your heart, and it just is what it is, and you can't explain it. So my husband's telling me all this stuff, and he tells me that he got to the gas station when we were on the phone. He said he pulled into the truck, like gas station number 1 for the truckers, and it was right by the doors. And when he went inside, he asked the cash register, the guy who is at the counter, he said, do you have gas cans? And he pointed to them up on the shelf, said yes, and he went immediately out, and the truck was gone. And so I was like, oh my gosh, it just kind of vanished, right? Because a whole semi truck moving out of that gas station, you'd probably notice. So he went to go fill up the gas cans, and as he was filling them up, another car pulls up with a dad and 3 sons. And he got a feeling like, just ask this guy if you can have a ride. So he goes, I'm so sorry, sir, to bug you. Can I ask you which direction you're going? And so the guy says yes. He's explaining he's going in the direction that he needs to. And I said, I'm so sorry to put you on the spot like this, but do you mind giving me a ride? My family is an hour away, stuck at a lookout point, and I need to get back to them. And he said, please go talk to your sons, feel it out. And so the guy said, okay, let me go talk to my kids. So he goes inside, and Chris was like, I should go pay for their stuff. Just go pay for it. And so he went inside, and the guy was like, no, don't worry about it. He was like, no, please, let me do this for you. Let me do this for you. So the guy finally said, okay. So they got their stuff, and they left. And so that's what he told me while we were going. And I just was like, man, it just feels like such a God thing. And then my son chimed in from the back seat. He goes, yeah, Dad, remember what was written on the bathroom? And I was like, no, what was written on the bathroom? And it goes, he loves you. And it was a cross of graffiti on the wall. And he goes, yeah, and as we were going out, it was that verse about, for God has the plans for you, not to harm you. And I said, oh my gosh. And I'm just feeling that. So I was on cloud 9 there thinking, wow, what a God moment, And we continued on our trip, and everything was okay. And the funny thing is that we never ran into those guys from Ventura, but we actually needed to gas cans. We didn't have enough gas. We put the 5 gallons in and we needed the other one. So I mean, just one thing after another, after another. Well, we finally get home. I'm sleeping in and I'm talking to my mom on the phone, and I like to scroll through Pinterest, if any of you have that app where you kind of just like pin ideas and stuff. Well, there was an idea I wanted to send to a friend, and when I saved it, I pulled up my camera, and the first picture that was on was a semi-truck. I completely spaced looking at the semi-truck pictures. And if you look at this picture, do we have it, Pastor?
Picture of the back of the truck.
Yeah. There's no license plate, you guys. There's no license plate, but that's not even the trippiest part. If you zoom in on the door, it says Nazareth. And to even top that, there's angel wings. I can't explain it, but I know it's God, and God is so good. And miracles happen every single day, and I think we're too busy to take notice. God had us in the palm of his hand. He orchestrated that whole thing. He knew exactly where we're gonna be, the timing that it took for each thing to happen. And just the peace that he gave me through that whole thing was like none other. And I just had to share that with you guys. It's amazing. So, and then on top of that, my husband and I had been talking weeks prior, and I had told him about some stories that had happened in my life where I just knew that God was there, and it was just, and he goes, man, that would be so cool if something like that happened to me. There you go. So, thank you guys.
You're teaching me with my imperfections, reaching me when I run the other direction. I'm undone, unraveling my plans, make me